Good morrow, Internet! This week we will be addressing an important topic, one that is very near and dear to all of our hearts. Has digital communication made us antisocial? Yes, Tyler, of course it has. Why is this even a question? Everybody just has his or her face in a screen right now. Just a sec, shoot. Nobody talks face-to-face anymore, and we all just kind of walk around like zombies now, right? Well, the definition of social is somewhat open to interpretation. It doesn't necessarily have to involve engaging in activities or spending time with others, specifically in person. It can just involve the enjoyment of spending time communicating with others. No matter which way you like to look at it, there's many facets to this argument, but I believe the casual observer is placing the blame in the wrong place when it comes to digital communication's bad side effects. I mean, you look around and you see all these people with their faces in their screens, but they're not just looking at a blank screen. They're talking to somebody that matters to them in one way or another, right? Well, I'd say that it arguably makes us more social. But in doing so, digital communication has made us ruder and less empathetic by effectively blinding us to the emotions of others. I mean, we have the ability to communicate with anybody we want near instantaneously. The price we pay for this is that we can't see them face to face. We can't pick up on all the little emotional cues that people give off when they're excited or angry or disappointed. There is a purely hypothetical scenario that clinical psychologist Sherry Turkle uses to describe this idea in her book, Alone Together. Now, it goes something like this. Say you're canceling dinner plans with your grandmother, and you're debating between telling her in person, calling her on the phone, or sending her a text or an email. Now, obviously seeing her in person completely subverts communication technology altogether, but seeing her disappointment in person is likely to have a highly profound impact on your decision as to whether or not you should cancel your dinner plans. When you call your grandmother on the phone, you can't see her emotional reaction to the news, but you can still hear the disappointment in her voice, making it far more likely that she'll keep your plans with her intact. On the far end of the spectrum, the text or email may reach grandma the fastest and require the least amount of time or energy, but it also completely removes all of the emotion from your exchange. You can't see or hear her reaction to your cancellation, so you're far less likely to think about how she feels. I mean, that being said, I'm sure I'm not the only one who will continue to cancel all their plans via text. I mean, it's just too convenient. This lack of empathy, which results from not having to deal with others in person, is also the driving negative force behind internet trolling and cyberbullying. I mean, if people said some of the stuff they say online to somebody in person, they'd probably be looking at a confrontation. In his article, Rude Technology, Dale Archer says that sitting in front of a computer, smartphone, or tablet allows us to ignore social etiquette without being held accountable. Kelsey Huron backs up this statement in her article discussing whether digital communication is making kids ruder. She states that social media has made it easier for kids to be mean to one another because the kids don't have to see how their behavior affects others, and they don't have to face up to the emotional damage that they inflict upon others. In this same article, Heron also quotes Dana Boyd, who says that kids today are no meaner than they've always been. Bullying is not worse today, the technology just makes it more visible. Dana, while I recognize where you're coming from, I'm gonna have to disagree with you on this one. People say some legitimately terrible things on the internet they would never say in person. People are much more conscious of their own self-image in public, and without the anonymity of the internet to protect them, most of the time they just keep to themselves. While kids may not be meaner as a general whole, it's now much easier for kids to be mean when they want to be. Now, unfortunately, this lack of empathy that digital communication creates isn't exactly a simple fix. Any solution that could be provided would be as basic as saying, don't be mean to each other. Being mean to other people is an unfortunate part of human nature, and it's not likely to change anytime soon. We can, however, work to correct our own inadvertent rudeness that stems from the usage of digital communication. Yes, we are connected to everybody we know at once through the touch of a button, but we need to realize that different situations call for different types of communication. Now, the first step in correcting the problem is identifying the problem, which we have done. Now all we have to do is be conscious of how we treat others, folks. Technology has expanded faster than we've been able to adapt our own etiquette for it. The technology isn't going anywhere, so we need to make the change ourselves. Instead of complaining about the problem, be a part of the solution. Thank you, and keep being awesome.